Well, welcome to Socially Served. I'm your host, Frank Stroka. And as you know, Socially Served is for you, the consumer, to make informed decisions. And we're here, believe it or not, at the Disability Channel studios in Toronto. And we have a great show for you. We're going to be talking about accessibility and talking about our accessible media program and to employers who actually have hired some of our applicants and candidates that have graduated from this amazing program. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and stay tuned right after this message.
Are you currently on ODSP? If you're interested in social media marketing, TV production, podcasting, or getting off assistance, please contact Jay Stoyan at 647-339-6847 or Jay at thedisabilitychannel.ca. The Disability Channel, showcasing abilities.
Well, we're back at Socially Served, and thanks for joining us. And today we're with actually a couple of people here, and I'm going to introduce them. We're with a company called Digitally Accessible, and we have Juan, Mark, and Andrew, who's one of actually a new hire on from with the company itself. And I wanted to kind of introduce the company and talk a little bit about our program. The Disability Channel has been a big partner with our accessible media program in conjunction with Mohawk College. And we're going to actually speak to one of the employers who have hired one of our applicants who have finished this amazing program. It's all about accessibility. Basically, the channel has provided sort of the practicum or experiential type of learning for our candidates who have gone through the program. And right now, we're going to just talk to one of the employers who have hired our candidate and talk a little bit about accessibility. And I'm going to throw the question over to Juan, who is one of the chief operating officers of this company, and talk a little bit about how your company started. It's an interesting format that you have, because when you look at your company's name, Digitally Accessible, there's the L's are like ones, and maybe you can tell our viewers about that.
Hey Frank, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us on the show. Yes, so my name is Juan Olarte. I'm the CEO for Digitally Accessible. The company really started, it's been a work in progress for the last 11 years. I've been doing accessibility for the last 20 years. I'm visually impaired myself, so I know what inaccessible content means for people with disabilities. Now, in the experience of working with different organizations to help them understand what accessibility is and how they can become accessible, I started create a framework, and then I met Mark, and then we decided to create an accessibility company, really to put our expertise together and help organizations as well as individuals really understand what accessibility is. Now, you're right. So the A11Y stands for accessibility, and that's kind of like the acronym or how the accessibility the accessibility community is known. So it really is between the two A's. There are 11 characters, and that's why it's A11Y.
Who would have
Yes.
thought? Mark, I'd like to introduce you as the co-partner with the company, and maybe you could explain how you and Juan kind of came together and formatted this amazing organization.
Thank you for having us, and definitely, yes, it's funny how our favorite word that Juan and I have is serendipity, and so many things sort of seem to align with the both of us. And myself, I also have lots of years in operations and in leadership, and Juan and I, we had worked together previously in helping other companies meet their accessibility needs. And afterwards, we got together and realized that there had to be a better way. And through some strong conversations and some quick planning, Juan and I decided, you know what, we do know there has to be a better way, and we know that we can actually bring it to the forefront. So we got together. We decided that instead of always talking about it, that let's literally put pen to paper and then paper to thought and then thought to action. And Digitally Accessible was born. And already we were making an impact and meeting great people, helping great companies, and bringing on great resources. So we always wanted to make sure that we literally walked the walk instead of just talking about it. And throughout our organization, we make it a point to always have making sure that things are inclusive for people with disabilities is number one. And that's from our hiring practices, our tools, and our solution.
No, I think that's wonderful. And you know what? It is interesting that you mentioned, walking the walk. There are a lot of, it's all about education, right? And a lot of organizations, they know they need to be compliant. They know about AODA. They know about being inclusive, but it's that education piece. And, and being able to address that with organizations and doing what you're doing in terms of your services. And maybe, I'm just going to introduce Andrew to the group. As Andrew is actually a graduate from Mohawk with our accessible digital media program in conjunction with the Disability Channel. And I have to tell you that this program also is sponsored by the Ministry of Training and Employment Ontario. They're a big partner in making this happen. So I have to plug them in, I have to give them that plug. But Andrew, maybe you want to talk a little bit about your experiences with Digital Accessible and sort of how you came about to the equation of this company.
Yeah, well, I'm going to reiterate what the other two said. Just thanks for having us on. And I guess at the end of last year, I took the course with Mohawk. I have a background in multimedia. So that partnered with finishing the course, there was a good fit. And been with the team for about a month now, and it's just been amazing. Hit the ground running and just go. So it's been fantastic.
Well, that's great to hear. So what have you been doing for the team, like in terms of your job, the tasks that you're doing? What are you doing?
Video production and just making sure it's up to the accessibility standard. And then recently started doing some social media content as well. So they keep me busy.
And of course, all in an accessible format, right? That's the
absolutely, 100%.
And that's what you've learned in the program too.
Yes, yeah. So again, my background in multimedia partnered with the course. It was a great fit.
Oh, that's excellent to hear. Now I'm going to throw a question over to Juan. So Juan, tell us a little bit about what your company does. Like what kind of services do you provide?
Correct. So we help organizations really understand what their accessibility needs are, so they can in turn help users with disabilities get access to their products. So a lot of the times we provide training, we provide gap analysis, audits, or automated exams, just to really understand what different accessibility obstacles are for people with disabilities. And we offer consultation as well, so we help them every single step of the way to really understand how accessibility can be in the development life cycle of an IT project.
Wow. So it's actually, so do you do like a web accessibility audits, or like how do
Correct.
you?
It is web accessibility. So anything related to digital, whether it's going to be a mobile app, a website, depending on what stage they are, whether it's going to be later on the application has been built. So we go do an audit, provide a accessibility feedback in terms of what needs to be done, and then we work one-on-one with the development team to ensure that accessibility is fixed. Or we can work early on before the application has been created. We will work with the business owners, we will work with the developers as well as with the testers to really help integrate accessibility and what it means for each of the roles.
So Mark, are you finding now with sort of deadlines upcoming in terms of compliance with AODA and, companies want to be more compliant. They want to have more visitors to their websites and making sure that they're accessible. Are you finding there's a big surge in that now?
Well, Frank, it's like almost everything. When the deadlines are coming up, everyone has the best of intentions, but not always the best of execution of actually meeting those deadlines. So the initial deadline of Jan 1, 2021, in which everyone had to be compliant, it came, and I think it snuck up on it snuck up on a lot of people. Not everyone, but it snuck up on a lot. And with everything that has been going on in 2019, 2020, that's not that surprising. So what we found is by being there to support our clients and any company that's out there that needs to meet the mandate and be able to report once the reporting mandate comes around, which is the next sort of milestone that is looming on people's schedules. We're here to help them do it, because becoming compliant, it can be really complex, and our mantra is to simplify it for them and to support them and to work with them, their internal teams, their stakeholders, their development teams, and help them actually meet the requirements to be compliant with all the AODA, or even with some of our American clients, the ADA.
Okay, so it's interesting. Yeah, compliance is, that's the thing. There is a lot to do, and so you kind of empower these organizations to create a pathway for them to find out what tools they have, how do they do the reporting for the ministries, because they have to do the compliance with that. So there is a lot involved. So it's interesting how, with the recent pandemic, how things have changed. Like operations are operating remotely, just like we're doing this interview. We would have been in the studio, but now we're doing the interview here. But we're still communicating. We're still doing these things.
Well, so think about it this way, Frank. There was a time when it was normal for people to be in the office, where I think the norm right now is for people to be working from their home office. So you can see where I am right now, which is definitely not in downtown Toronto. It's more in downtown Toronto bedroom. And and with that, that means that many more people are accessing their office, their life, and everything through this digital means.
It's exactly that. And you know what? We're going to take a brief commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about working remotely, because you're opening up many opportunities for a lot of our graduates that are coming through, learning how to work remotely. This is nothing new. So we'll be back after this important message. So don't go anywhere.
Are you currently on the Ontario Disability Support Program? If you're interested in social media marketing, TV production, podcasting, and or getting off assistance, contact Jay Stoyan at 647-339-6847 or jay@thedisabilitychannel.ca. The Disability Channel, showcasing abilities.
And we're back to Socially Served. Thank you for joining us. And I'm here with Juan and Mark and Andrew from Digitally Accessible Media. And we're talking about actually working remotely. Now, we spoke a little bit about the program that we created in partnership with Mohawk College and the Disability Channel on accessible media, which is fantastic. And Andrew is actually one of the candidates that graduated from the program, is now hired with this innovative company. And you see how happy these employers are with our graduates. So it all works out, right? So we were discussing, it's interesting, how things have, and I don't want to say how things have pivoted, but how things are now are being created virtually, and obviously now people are working remotely. And Andrew, as a new employee, so to speak, is working remotely as well. for this organization. And maybe Andrew, you can talk a little bit about that. When you were interviewed and sort of they're providing you with your tasks and what you have to do, and it's like, so do I come into the office? Do I come into the studio? Or do I do this remotely? So how was that experience?
Again, it's been great. We talked a little bit in our initial interview about when things do open up, actually heading into the office. But for now, the commute's pretty great for me. It's right, but no, the flexibility I have to be able to work from home, um, and it's just there's no other way to say it than for me it's a game changer because it's really there's nothing that I can't do from here in terms of my tasks, right? So it's been really great that way, and who knows when things open up again, maybe my tasks will change. I don't know, but for right now, it's been great.
That's excellent to hear. And and that's the flexibility, right? You can still do your job remotely. And I know Juan and Mark, when you started your company too, I think the majority of your staff that you employ previously were working remotely anyway,
We're
right?
fully remote. We are fully remote, right? So we have people over Canada. We have some people helping us from the States as well, but we're fully
Nice.
remote. I think right nowadays it's going to be easier just to keep it that way.
I mean, there are some things, like, and I do miss the studio. I do, when we were instructing, when we first just, created the program, we did have like an in-class 60% and like 40% virtually. So we're kind of working with that. But I do miss that the practical applications. I mean, we're using software now. We download editing software. We download, audio software. We're still interacting with the students, but sometimes there's that little piece that's you're missing that. And
Social
just coming to the studio today, and it's like, well, there's nobody here, but but I'm going to do my interview here anyway, so that's okay. And things are going to change. But it's interesting. We learn how to work better, more efficiently, and it's always that we're always adapting, right? And businesses have to learn how to adapt that way too. So there's a lot of best practices that we learn from these situations, and how to work and ways to work. It has been interesting times. But it's your company. I mean, that's great. Like, you started remotely. I think that's wonderful. And now you're able to tap into amazing skill sets, not only from our amazing candidates that graduate from our amazing program, but
for sure.
also the world is right there. You can
Yeah.
you can search anybody, right? I mean, so that's an advantage too.
No, definitely. Our clients are throughout all of North America. We partner with with groups all around the world, and as Juan mentioned, our team and our staff is located throughout all of Canada, from the east to the west, all the way down to the south in the United States, and we started the company virtually, just like you said. And lucky for you, Andrew, we're not going to mandate you to come into the office downtown Toronto. We are very happy and fortunate that with his skills and the tools that are out there, that he's able to do this remotely. And I think one thing that's really going to be important is to ensure that we still have that ability to find tools that are able to be used by people with disabilities, so that they can be just as functional as if they were in an office.
And that's an important part too. And Juan, like you mentioned, you have a disability barrier, and obviously you're using these tools as well. And maybe you can enlighten us to sort of, and I guess that's how that came about, that you came together with Mark to start the accessible development, right? Like, can you tell us sort of how that experience for you? Like, when you started off, I don't think the education piece was there. I don't think the devices really were there. So is this what spurred you on to start this company?
Early on in my career, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. I
so
mean,
so I guess early on, so I started really like 20 years ago when I came to Canada. I did an internship with the Bank of Montreal. I was very fortunate to gain employment and then really develop my I'll say development skills. Back then used to be like back end stuff and some front end. And that's more or less around the time that I met you as well, Frank. But really, having a disability um, enabled me to view web accessibility in a whole different perspective as to like how I will approach it, and me being a user really helped me understand what is that I'm going to need to ensure a website has to in order to be accessible. Now from there, I've been fortunate enough that I have like a different other roles where I've worked with people with different disabilities, really understand what their obstacles are, and that has also helped me really make a framework and put together different experiences and different things that are going to help us at the bottom line of creating this business, right? And again, from the experience of going from company to company, whether it was going to be tech, banks, government, there was always the thought of there has to be a better way to really help companies integrate accessibility rather than using Excel reports. We build a whole framework that it can be delivered online.
oh, that's excellent.
Mhm.
Just for our viewers, Mark or Juan, do you want to provide us with your website or information where people can contact you?
Yes, so our website is Digitally, as you mentioned, is the Digitally is A11y accessible.io. And you can go and find us in social media, whether it's going to be Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. And I also wanted to mention we're going to have an event on May 20th for Global Accessibility Awareness Day. We're going to have a half day event. It's free. So if you want to, please go to our website, sign up, and then you're going to get to learn more about web accessibility as well as the Global Accessibility Awareness Day.
So what day is that? What
It's
do
May
you,
20th.
May 20th?
Yes.
Okay, so make a note of that, everybody. I'll certainly be there, that's for sure. And I think that's great. Again, education, right? Letting people understand what's involved and what's involved. And, you're talking about being, going all these corporations and organizations. It's all about being inclusive too. But how do we go about doing that, right? How do we create a
Mhm.
pathway for that? So hats off to you guys. Like, this is quite amazing. It's such
Thank
a
you.
great conversation. So what's next now? What's next for your company? Either Mark or Juan.
Mark,
Well,
take it away.
it's always what's next.
I know.
We're gonna continue supporting the community. We're gonna continue in trying to ensure that that accessibility inclusion is not an afterthought. For organizations, we know that there are a lot of champions within different organizations, and we want to be able to help them reach the other stakeholders within their groups, their companies, their orgs. And from a personal and professional standpoint for digitally accessible, we are growing. We are growing our internal family. We are looking for great resources who can help us get the message out and to help us support the our various clients. And we're going to be coming back to you, Frank, for more people like Andrew who can
Awesome.
really take things by the horn and sort of drive the tasks that we need. So from our standpoint, it's growth of our knowledge outwards.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, it's an adventure all the time, right? Things are changing so
Yeah.
quickly. You guys are right on the mark, and thank you for considering our training program with the Disability Channel. The channel itself is very, we believe and we walk the walk too, right? Everything's produced by our candidates, our graduates. They produce the shows, they host the shows. We have somebody doing the restream right now who's producing the program itself. So we really believe in being inclusive and providing those skill sets that people need to transition into employment. That's so important. So, thanks again, folks. And Andrew, did you have anything you want to say before we sign off, or?
No, I feel like I've said it already, but just thank you. This job would not be possible without your program, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity, and hopefully it leads to a lot of great things. Just from digitally accessible, and if you ever need me to come back and talk, I like to talk, so I'm always
We'll have you back to speak to our cohorts about your experiences here, and actually have, I always believe in best practices, and I'm sure I'd love to invite, both Mark and Juan to talk to our candidates, to our the individuals that involve in our programs too, so that they can learn more things about accessibility, because it is a new frontier in a sense, right?
Mhm.
So we'd love to have you both, actually have all three of you come down there and talk to everyone. That would be great. So
Okay.
again, I want you to plug your company, because I think it's very important. It's a need that is out there. So if you want to give us your website address again, your phone number, contact, if you have your opportunity to do it now.
Yeah, definitely. The best way, go to our website digitally, and that's with the 11y, digitallyaccessible.io, and take a moment to explore, and also join us on May 20th for our GAD event. It's going to be fantastic. Great speakers. It's a great event, and it's a great price. It's free.
Awesome.
It's free.
Free is always good,
Yeah.
Free is always good. And now you know what the 11y stands for, right? Because I thought that was quite a kind of unique, kind of catchy. I like that. So thanks everyone for joining me on Socially Served. It was a pleasure having you all on board. And thank you once again. And I want to thank our viewers for joining us for the show. And remember, Socially Served is there for you to make those informed decisions. And I think you made some informed decisions today. So we'll see you again soon. And thank you again for joining us on Socially Served. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, guys.